Hey, welcome back to Right on the Edge. And I saw this 90s anime was a warning. Now, I've seen a lot of things glazing 90s stuff, 90s anime, 90s cartoons, 90s whatever. What can I say? You know, I grew up in a pretty good time, but I figured, why not just do another one? 90s anime was a warning by Late Night Noodles. I like late night noodles. I like anime, so let's see what they're warning us about. Supposedly.
The 90s were a time of change. The computer was becoming our era's defining machine,
Oh, yeah.
reshaping homes, institutions, and daily life.
Windows just makes your everyday work easier.
Between
I can't remember these commercials, but honestly, that only made me think of like Sleepless in Seattle and stuff like that. So, a little weird one.
1995 and 2000, the internet surged from 20 million to 300 million users by the decade's end.
Yeah.
At this point,
I was one
something
of them
had
users,
happened.
probably.
The physical world began its retreat, and in came a new world, the digital world.
I remember even in the early 2000s, people were like already scared that eventually like shopping in stores was going to be like obsolete and die.
When our world was quietly being enveloped by this new one, media and anime especially began to
Oh man, Ghost of the Shell. Peak. Peak. I love that show.
reflect this change. Again and again, we saw a repeated
Digimon.
theme. Characters
Yu-Gi-Oh.
falling into a new digital world. Some of these realms were childlike, others a terrifying dystopia. But that's exactly what
why
we're
not
going
both?
to explore. Because though these digital worlds differed, they shared a common thread of collective anxiety. And what I've realized is that these anime weren't just shows, they were warnings.
Damn, dude. Shit, was it though? Let's find out.
Prophecies that had striking accuracy into our world today in ways that aren't exactly
I think some people would willingly go into a digital world. You know, like a Sword Art Online-esque world, where you just disappear to your favorite video game. You don't have to worry about the real world anymore. You just fucking suicide out by computer death.
comforting. So today, we're going to revisit three
I don't think I watched that last one, but I want to. Damn, it was good.
anime from this era to ask one simple question. Just how accurate were they in predicting our future?
Ooh. Let's see.
Before the entering of each show's version of the digital world, whether through a portal or some kind of computer system, we see that in one way, our characters already entered this world. You see, before their reality changes for good, each show's depiction of normal life is strikingly similar. We see a world that is firmly on the threshold of a new age. Thematically, in Yu-Gi-Oh! We see Domino City, something that resembles a near-future technology-embroidered metropolis, the battlefield backdrop of technology companies infighting, vying for control over the masses. But even the soundscape marks the coming of this new age in history. In Serial Experiment Lane, the landscape is a cacophony of typing, electrical hum of telephone wires, the monotony of computer fans.
Hey, come on. That's a good Minani. Had that sneeze in there for like 4 seconds, man. It's brutal.
This is the sound of information being processed, and it calls out to Lane, whose face
Yep.
constantly holds an obtuse,
We're doing
vacant
it.
expression, as if caught in a shamanic trance. Not unlike us, she resembles an infant crawling into a new age, guided blindly, not knowing the pen we've been brought into.
I mean, it looks like she is a child. Is she actually an adult? Like, canonically?
So too, when our characters are led into the digital world, they aren't escaping to a new realm or alternative reality. They're stepping into a vision of the future, an inevitable unfolding of the world they already inhabit. The digital world is not a separate place, but the full awakening to a system that's
I think Digimon was kind of like half and half, right? So it started out fully digital, and then like it was bleeding into our world.
quietly swallowing everything. But we've spoken at length about this age without clearly defining what it really is. Well, sociologists call this era we live in the informational society. Not just a society where information is valued, it's one where information is the very fabric of society.
Could it also be like information being overwhelming? Like we're inundated with information all the time, all day, all the time. Like I have this phone. I mean, I'm not as addicted to it as some people, but to think that I could look up everything on this thing in like half a second, you know, like it's just the access is more than we've ever had. And I don't know if we know how to do with it, personally.
Put it this way. Since the dawn of time, societies have used information and exogenous systems of knowledge to great effect. Like when the formal system of science we created is used to develop tools, which are used to extract materials from the earth. But now, information itself has become these raw materials. Productivity is based on access to data, software, algorithms, AI digital platforms.
Yeah, and a little bit of all of that plus more, you know. It's also like you have to be creative and put it all together. You can't just have the information. Otherwise, everybody would be on YouTube and being rich, you know. We'd all watch each other's videos and consume each other's ads and whatnot.
Economically, our biggest companies are Google, Meta, Amazon, who don't produce.
Hey, Amazon's a platform, all right, you know. That's how they make their money. They're also like web hosting, I think.
Traditional goods. Instead, they process and sell information. Even physical products are marketed and sold using data analysis. AI systems trained on our information, as well as our day-to-day lives. Are they not?
Hot take, I think Yeezys are ugly. I think they're some of the ugliest shoes I've ever seen in my life.
Too shaped by these systems. This is the world our heroes live in. And when they enter the digital world, it's not just a new landscape, it's a glimpse into our future. As our world changes, our institutions and even ourselves, we become more like nodes in a vast network of information exchange. But this new shift brings new...
They say if you know like 7 people, you're connected to 1 million. Like as a node.
New fears, new questions like, who controls this information? Can it be used against us? And is this new system, the new world, really what we asked for?
Is it? But I don't know.
Well, thankfully, our shows not only hinted at some of these questions, but in a way, they answered them.
No.
Once landing on the blue wireframe grid that is the digital world, our heroes soon...
I think the blue grid's always like formed like it's always like representing like the internet connection, like the connection with the online.
Face the forces that control this new dimension. And in doing so, reveal the forces that control our own world. But what do they look like? Well, as you'd expect, in each show there's clear or inferred reference to giant tech conglomerates. But it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Which offers the most strikingly prophetic vision of the future. Appearing in 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh!'s virtual world-based arcs are the antagonists known as the Big Five, who are corporate executives for Kyber Corp, a giant tech company. The fact that the writers chose to use this epithet for the giant corporations dominating the internet long before the term was applied to today's 5 major tech companies reveals the exact fears of that era: corporate monopolization and control. But no one embodies these fears more than the former head of the Big Five, Gozaburo Kaiba. Before his son and our favorite anime antagonist took over and turned Kyber Corp into a gaming company, it was actually a military technology firm, and there's a reason for that. With Gozaburo owning a company that supplies destructive weapons, develops satellites, and even possesses virtual reality technology, it's been made clear that he represents the military-industrial complex. This is the type
the Big Five and the shadow control
of tech tyrant whose power goes well beyond the
surprisingly, that's actually really good. I didn't pick up on that as a kid, and I haven't rewatched it as an adult, you know.
Private sector, offering their digital infrastructure to fuse private interests with state power and attain even greater control. The military-industrial complex isn't just about building weapons. for the state. Their alliance shapes the very systems that govern our daily lives. And while the military-industrial complex gave birth to the internet, today's digital overlords
It's the
are
World Wide
leveraging
Web.
infrastructure
Hey, come on. Bill Gates is retired. Those other two, maybe.
to expand their reach far beyond what we see on screen. As a recent example, take Palantir, a data mining and analytics company born from military intelligence, now powering federal systems. From
Yeah.
law enforcement to the IRS, using behavioral models and psychological profiling, using data to flag people, not just for what they've done, but for what they might do. These are the powers that
I think I'm gonna react to that next, man. That's Palantir. I've heard of the name, but I didn't know how big it or nefarious it could be.
control this new world. And Gozaboro is the face of this new regime, showing up as a giant head in a purple cloud. So cartoonish and over the top it feels straight out of a pantomime. He resembles the Wizard of Oz, a projection of unfathomable control. So
Yeah.
extensive it's seen as laughable. Yet here, there's no curtain to draw, no convenient rug to pull away. This is who controls this realm, and the pantomime has become reality. See, even in the more
That's really good, man. That's really good. It's kind of crazy to think that Yu-Gi-Oh was more mature than another show, but here it is.
juvenile shows from this period, like Digimon, they show a strong awareness of the shadowy circles who control this new world. As we see alongside the evil Digimon Vamdemon, who uses Masonic imagery, hinting toward the presence of a hidden cabal shaping our reality. Yet another explicit reference is made when Vamdemon invokes a phrase to break the barrier between the digital and real world. Tion Ukbar, Orbis Tertius. This is the title of a real-life short story.
That's impressive. That's impressive, man. They're shoving these things into children's show. The Bourgeois, huh? George Louis Bourgeois.
In which a secret society invents an entirely fictional world based on idealist philosophy, which eventually begins to overwrite reality itself. Idealism, put simply, is the philosophical view that reality is fundamentally mental, or dependent on the mind. And it
I would say so. I would say so. I think it is 90% mental. Like, even the power that these things have over us is 90% in your head. And they rely on that because they know if we ever had a huge majority of the population all stand up together, they couldn't really stop us.
It's here that we arrive at the next fear these stories
Yet, you know, if AI robots soon, they will be able to, you know?
explore. If we know who runs the digital world, what exactly is it? Well, the previous reference that was just made happens to be incredibly insightful in answering this, because the idea of an idealist society directly mirrors the structure of our modern informational society that I mentioned earlier, where reality is increasingly shaped not by the physical, but by data, symbols, and systems of thought. You see, the informational society is one where, like we said, the flow of data and information becomes the DNA and lifeblood of society. This is eerily close to idealism, where reality is based on thought.
That's pretty close. That's pretty close. I'll give you that. You know what? I was thinking about it. It's like I agree and I disagree all at the same time because I still think the driving force of our reality is force, for instance. It's force. But I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. It's
Ideas
really
are more
close.
real and impactful than the physical. So, what these shows seem to be saying is that the informational society we live in may end up rejecting the physical world entirely, evolving, becoming a kind of cybernetic idealism. In Serial Experiment Lane, this becomes disturbingly literal. Teenagers begin to unalive themselves, abandoning their physical forms entirely, to live inside the wired. But the warning goes deeper,
That's
because
crazy.
this isn't just about
But I bet you people would do that. If given the option, I think a lot of people would.
escape. It's about the fact that this new reality already has its rulers, those who laid its foundations, bought up the digital land, and shaped the infrastructure before most even knew it existed. And when society is built like this, not on matter but on idea.
I think people weren't born yet. But if you're my age and you don't know that this exists or these people exist, you're just kind of ignorant, you know? And I don't mean that like to be insulting. I just mean I'm ignorant about things too. But that is what it is.
On data, images, and constant flows of information, its structure no longer looks the same. It begins to look more like a mind, and that's exactly what makes it so dangerous.
Spooky,
Because
huh?
whoever controls this mind controls reality itself. You see, a mind operates more like a network. A network is decentralized, made of nodes that are all connected and constantly.
I think it's worse than a mind. Because everything's connected here. But in current reality, you can just kind of make your own box and live in it. You know, you don't have to see ideas that you don't like. Because you can just cut yourself off by blocking people and stuff like that. And in that way, I think it's bad. I think it's very bad.
Exchanging. But by consequence of participating in this network, we risk exposure. After all, this network isn't ours. No longer is our security a spatial concept located in certain institutions like a prison or a school, but it now looks more like a mist or atmosphere. Merely living is enough to be surveyed. And this new way of living has even more dreadful implications. It creates what is called a panopticon effect. Being in an interconnected system, we are made naked, but those who watch us remain hidden. In fact, this system was long envisioned before the internet even existed. Originally imagined by Jeremy Bentham in his concept of the panopticon prison, due to its psychological effect. And the idea goes like this: a surveyed subject is not just watched, but because they don't know if they're being watched, they begin to monitor themselves. You effectively become your own god.
God damn, that's creepy as fuck.
In a system that exposes every detail about you, where you are what you're thinking.
It's kind of true though. It's kind of true though. How many of us like be good little boys because we're afraid of people watching? I bet you a lot. Even if you don't want to like admit to it, I bet a lot.
Thinking, what you search for, who you talk to, and even what you hesitate to click on. This leverage and power is embodied by Gozaburo from Yu-Gi-Oh! After ending his life and entering the digital world, he realizes he no longer needs to escape. The depths of his power here is now infinite. In this idealist state, control is amplified, where the simple use of one's mind can manifest power anywhere, any time. With an omniscient view of reality enabled by advanced technology, certain companies or individuals could almost become godlike. It's why Masahiro Ira in Lane wishes to merge the barrier between the digital and physical worlds,
Creepy, man.
so that,
That's
as
so
one of its
creepy.
creators, he can appear anywhere and wield godlike power. Though this may sound like a dramatic anime plot device, these characters reflect the real.
Like, it might be dramatic and an anime plot device, but that doesn't mean it's not something a twisted person would do, right? It probably is something a twisted person would do.
Real aims of various technocrats becoming gods through the digital world. Take Zbigniew Brzezinski, a prominent political scientist and national security advisor to the United States presidents, who spoke exactly of these aims. The impact of technology involves the gradual appearance of a more controlled and directed society. Such a society would be dominated by an elite whose claims to political power would rest on allegedly superior scientific know-how, using the latest modern techniques for influencing public behavior and keeping society under close surveillance and control.
Isn't that terrifying, guys? Isn't that terrifying? I thought this was gonna be like a lighthearted video, but it's actually good.
But though we've explained how this new world seems to be controlled by powerful, shadowy entities, who have found new ways to grant themselves godhood, we must ask, why on earth would we want to enter this new world? Or if it's inevitable.
Why would we want to? Is because even this alternative seems better than the one we live in now. That's why. Hopelessness. You know? Out here, there's so many things that are unfair. but in there, you at least have like the illusion of fairness, you know?
What should be our
That's what I
goal
think.
with it? While further in during their stay at the digital world, each show introduces a new archetype, the cyberpunk, someone who works to free the digital world out of the hands of the tech giants for whatever use they see fit. In Serial Experiment Lane, this archetype manifests as the Knights, who, though against the large tech corporations, align with similar goals, attempting to use the digital world as a form of transcendence.
So these people want power, but they just don't want the other people to have power, but they still want power.
Is perhaps Digimon, which surprisingly has the most sensible answer to this question of what to do. Although Digimon presents a less ominous view of the digital world, warning mainly against viruses through the personification of evil Digimon, it nonetheless acknowledges a larger struggle. Rather than depicting a full merger between humanity and technology, it proposes something different: symbiosis. Using tech to enhance our lives without compromising our humanity. Yet there's still an evolutionary angle. Those who fail to embrace the technological advancement risk becoming obsolete, like the ultimate antagonist, a Pokemon, described in the show as code that failed to adapt and thus become obsolete. A realization which causes a profound nihilism, but perhaps not a false one. Is our world merely a choice between transcending our physical body with tech, or risk becoming obsolete? It's a difficult problem, one mankind has never faced, but it also seems inevitable. What we do have control over is how we proceed. Is the digital world a conduit of transformation? If transcendence presents too many problems, should it perhaps be a tool toward the same ends? Or is this a false question entirely? Is using machines to solve moral problems, or using them as a arc toward a new
Damn, dude, I was sucked in there. You know, this is one of those real thinkers, I think. This is a real thinker. Because we do face this problem, you know, in our everyday life, and more, you know, you see everybody that was against filing systems now having digital filing systems. Like people that are against the internet and using that to drum up new business either went out of business or they turned to the internet to drum up new business. Like we've been constantly finding out that online digital systems are superior to us, like constantly. And man, it's fascinating. What a good video. If you like stuff like this, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.